looking at a Train 2023 model, so it's still under our install warranty. We put 2 years labor on our install jobs for warranty purposes, but it's a Ford TWX 7036, 17-seater, 2-stage, 3-ton. And the other technician was out. I'm back to double check it and do the recommended repair, which was to replace this EEV control board right there. And I guess he said what it was doing was something similar to one that I had put a video up on about a month and a half ago, maybe a month ago, I don't know. System runs fine in first stage. Then when you go and energize second stage, which he left that disconnected temporarily till we could come back, it wants to shut down. So I'm going to go through the process of double checking that. And first thing we're going to do is, if we think we've got a problem with our board, we want to test everything plugged to the board. So what I want to do is I want to check out and see what my pressure transducer is reading. And then I want to see if my suction line temperature sensor, which is down here on the suction line, is reading correctly. Because if the board's not getting the right information, it's not going to do the right thing. So we've got the charts in the book right there. And we're going to double check these real quick. So I'm reading a 103 psi right there on my suction pressure. So what I want to do is use this chart, check my transducer, and see if it's giving me something that correlates to 103, 104 psi. So I'm going to just basically check DC voltage right there between this black and white wire on the transducer. And it will give me the DC voltage that should correlate to our pressure on this chart. And I put the book over my meter. Nope. Put my meter in the right setting would help. Looking at 1.57 volts DC, and 1.5 gives me 99, 1.6 gives me 108, and I was at like 1.57, so that should give me between 99 and 108. Probably give me my 107, or my one that I'm looking at, or my 104. So I know our transducer is reading good. Now I'm going to do the same thing against our temperature sensor. That's telling me 2.3 volts DC. And if I look up here at 2.39, that's giving me a temperature right there of 45 degrees. So this temperature on this suction line down here should be somewhere close to 45 degrees. Probably should have already had this hooked up to it to begin with. Hook up right below the sensor. And that is telling me I've got 50 degrees, 50.7 degrees right here. So let me double check my sensor again. 2.27 and 2.22 is 50 degrees, so I know I'm close on that. So I know my suction line sensor, my transducer are reading accurately. They correlate together to read a superheat for this outdoor unit to control that EEV. So now we're going to go ahead and jump it into second stage and see what it does. Check my voltage yet to see if the thermostat's calling for second stage. And it is not calling yet, so I'm just going to jump it out. And we're going to see what this thing does. See there. Take the wire nut off and my wire came apart. So I'm gonna wait for it to come back on and then we'll jump it out. Alright, so we're back on. Let's jump this thing out, see what happens. Suction pressure starting to drop. Bed pressure's going up. And still dropping. I think if it does what I've seen them do before, it's eventually going to get down and go out on low pressure. If it gets that far. Head pressure's going up. Pressure. If it gets that far. Head pressure's going up. I sure hope he didn't add refrigerant to this thing thinking it was refrigerant charge problem. Now it's starting to come back up. We'll let that run for a couple of minutes to see what it does. So I'm going to try it one more time and see what happens. I just ran it through a defrost. It went through defrost. On wire. Let's see what happens this time. Notes that were in his call said it would pump down in second stage. He was here yesterday on an emergency call. And I've seen one of these units do that before. And the EEV board was the problem. But I kind of like to see it happening. Pressure's getting a little high. It's 45 degrees outside. ignition pressure is hanging in there. I'm going to put the board in it just to see what it does. Of course, Train's new board box. They sent that little board in this box that would look like it would have a UV light in it. Anyway, let's change it up. Alright guys, old board is out. The new one is in. Running. And I have this thing in test mode inside for second stage. But for whatever reason that I will have to go figure out, I am not getting a call on Y2 for the compressor. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. So I'm just gonna jump this thing out. The airflow's up, but I don't know. I hope he didn't disconnect this wire at the thermostat too. All you gotta do is disconnect it here. But we'll just jump it out for now. See what happens. I like to see it happen while I'm at the unit. Looks like it's doing the same thing. I mean, I've checked the transducer, checked the suction sensor, stepper motor. We'll own that out real quick and check that. Pretty sure that's okay. Very rarely, other than that other one I worked on recently, but that was the air handler. Were those a problem? Pressures are, at least this time they're staying in the 90s. A while ago it got all the way down to 77. 75. I think this thing will trip at 60. So maybe that's what it was, but that blood pressure's a little high. I need to probably dig into my second stage, make sure it's wired up right. I mean, it's been here for 2 years, but make sure my airflow's up. But it's not doing what they said it was doing anyway. I mean, it did get kind of low, but now it's starting to come back up. It never got below 94. A while ago it got down to 77, so maybe there was some quirkiness going on with this board. I don't know. Yesterday it was colder. It was 25 degrees yesterday. Yesterday being Thursday, the day after we got all the snow, which has now melted because we never get that much. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna go dig into this and find out why I'm not getting 24 volts on my second stage thermostat wire. He did disconnect it out here, so it would run in first stage, because second stage was where he was having the problem. He may have disconnected it at the thermostat as well. But I'm afraid this is probably going to be one of those that see how it runs and see if they call back and come back out here again. Hopefully not. It doesn't go perfect every time. But anyway guys, appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.